Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the regularly scheduled meeting for May 12th. The time is 7:30. Clerk, can you please do a roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss,
I'm here.
Councilman Fleming,
Here.
Councilman Muir,
Here.
Councilor Rohrbach, Councilman Soltis,
Here.
Councilor Wright,
Here.
Mayor Grafstein.
I am here. Can I please get a motion to excuse Councilor Rohrbach? She did give notice.
Your Honor.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor.
Yep.
Support.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Councilor Rohrbach has been excused. The invocation and pledge this evening will be led by Councilman Soltis. I invite you to stand if you would like.
As we gather here tonight, the important work of our city council, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on something that is close to my heart, our seniors, older Michiganians. This month, we celebrated Seniors and Old Michiganian Day. We honored them, the contributions, invaluable wisdom that our older residents bring to our communities. Just last week, I had the honor of accompanying a wonderful group of seniors on the bus trip. It was a reminder of how vibrant and engaged our senior community is. We may often think our older generation as a wealth of knowledge, but after spending time with them, it's clear that they continue to lead lives filled with energy, curiosity, and purpose. Tonight, as we sit here making decisions about our city's future, let us remember that our seniors have helped shape the city we know and love. They are our mentors, our neighbors, and our family members, and we are proud to stand alongside them, ensuring that their voices continue to be heard, their needs to be met. May we be inspired by their resilience, their wisdom, and their commitment to make our community better for all. Thank you.
All right, first up this evening, we have approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions this evening? Thank you. We're going to hold for a moment. No, thank you for letting us know. I'm going to use a louder voice right now until this hopefully gets fixed in a minute. Council, are there any additions or deletions this evening? No. All right. So then we are going to move into presentations. And hopefully everyone can hear this better now. All right, our first presentation this evening is from the police chief. It's the 2025 National Police Chief Proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor Grafstein. Council Mayor, if I could just take a moment to just state the purpose of the proclamation. The purpose is to recognize National Police Week 2025 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers who were killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. I'm going to read the proclamation. So, whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Madison Heights Police Department. Whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States that have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty, including one member of our own Madison Heights Police Department. Whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., whereas 345 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 148 officers killed in 2024 and 197 officers killed in previous years. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 37th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2025. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 11th to 17th. And whereas May 15th, 2025 is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now therefore it be it resolved that the Madison Heights City Council declares the week of May 11th to 17th, 2025 as National Police Week in Madison Heights and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. This to you. And Chief, I hope I speak for all of council when I say that we appreciate everything that you and your team does every day to keep us safe. Most people get up, they go to work, they come home, they're not too concerned about what's going to happen. But your crew, totally different life, so we appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do to keep us
Appreciate
safe.
you. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have for the Director of Public Services, the 2025 National Public Works Week.
I just wanted to say National Public Works Week is designed to bring awareness to those public works professionals where if we're doing our jobs, you don't know we're there, and we're just here to serve under the radar and serve our public in any way possible. I could not have a better team that I work with and that works for me. I just can't say enough things about the men and women that work in our Public Works Department. So by all means, thank you to them.
All right, thank you. And I will read your proclamation as well. So whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainability and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Madison Heights. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of the employees of the Madison Heights Department of Public Services and their counterparts, who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, business owners, civic leaders, and children in Madison Heights to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their community, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude toward and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Madison Heights does hereby proclaim the week of May 18th to 24th, 2025, National Public Works Week in the City of Madison Heights, and urges all citizens, civic leaders, and civic organizations to join with the American Public Works Association in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. So, Mr. Valentine? And I would just like to note that DPS, our public services, are one of those kind of hidden systems that we have in place here. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't, and when you have an issue, you want to see them. And we had a situation a few years ago during the pandemic where there was a vaccine clinic, and it was on the weekend, and the street needed to be plowed. So you don't really think about DPS, but I got a call, I made a call, and DPS got it done. So thank you, Mr. Valentine, and your entire team for everything you do. You really are the extra in our public safety, because our public safety vehicles can't go anywhere if they can't drive on our roads, and that's you. So thank you for everything you guys do. All right, next up, we have our one public hearing, and that is from the city manager and finance director, and it is the hearing for the fiscal year 2026 budget resolution and tax levy.
So the fiscal year 2026 Budget Council Review was held on April the 15th as part of the regular city council meeting. This public hearing is scheduled to receive public comments on the proposed budget, to approve the funds, to establish the tax levy for the budget appropriations, and to approve changes to the water and wastewater fees and department fees. Pursuant to Section 8.4 of the city charter, a resolution has been drafted, which, if approved, will adopt this budget, appropriate funds, tax levy, and fee adjustments. This budget maintains the same tax millage for city operations at 25.4572 as the current year. There is an adjustment proposed for water and sewer rates of 6.366% increase to cover the increases passed on to the city from GLEWA at 7.38% and Oakland County Water Resources, which is 6.9% for all water treatment. The new rates will go into effect for bills on or after July 1st, with water rates increasing from $4.44 per unit to $4.74 per unit, and sewer rates increasing from $6.56 per unit to $6.96 per unit. Following the public hearing, I recommend that council approve the fiscal year 2026 budget resolution. And pursuant to the city charter, section 7.6B, this would require a supermajority of 5 votes.
All right, thank you. So before I ask for a motion to vote on this, I'm going to open this up to the public. So this is the opportunity for our residents or anyone in the public who wishes to speak specifically about this budget resolution and tax levy. There will be a portion later on where you can speak about anything on that you would like. But right now, if anyone would like to speak specifically about this, I'm going to open the public comment. And seeing no one wishing to speak, I'm going to ask for a motion from council. I get a motion from council to approve, please.
Your Honor,
Your Honor,
I'd like to make-
I'll make a motion to approve the budget as presented.
All right, Mr. Meir, and then,
I'll second it.
all right, thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor,
Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, I just would like to say that I just want to again thank our staff for doing an impressive job of going through it and putting together a comprehensive budget. I think we're in a challenging time right now, just in our nation, not only just in our city with fiscal responsibility. And one of the things that stuck with me is that some of the places we're cutting is capital improvements. And what that kind of tells me is that we're cutting back on places we need, not places we want. And it kind of says how tight it is. So just, I want to give kudos to our finance department for having that tough job as we plan ahead for future problems so we don't have to face them head-on proactively instead of reactively. So thank you to our finance director and city manager and the rest of the team. All of our directors, we highlighted 2 of them and left out the fire folks today too, but it's not their week, so. But appreciate all you guys.
All right, thank you. There was Mr.
Yes,
Willis?
Your Honor.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you to staff and then to my peers on council. Unfortunately, we were not able to reduce the rate this year. I know people are struggling. This is a difficult economic period. We weren't able to reduce it, but we were able to at least keep it the same. And so there were some tough choices in there. We didn't want to have to do that, but I'm so thankful that at least we were able to keep it the same. I do want to ask that the city do some education out into the public, because I think that there is not as much of an understanding of some of the legacy costs that we are dealing with. We talked about it at the last budget meeting, but I'll reiterate it. More than a quarter of every dollar in taxes that are sent to the city are automatically tied up in promises that were made for pension and healthcare on services that were delivered in years prior. So you give us $1 in taxes, a quarter of it is already gone based on prior decisions and services, and that other roughly 70 cents or so is then made available for us to be able to make choices in this budget. And so I'd love to have something that goes out about that. And then I would also like to say that taxes are very unique and individual in the city because of how Headley and Proposal A have kind of limited how those increases go. The house next door to you that might have bought 5 years ago has a very different assessed tax rate than the house that bought next to you 20 years ago. And those that are buying brand-new homes in the city might be seeing tax bills of upwards or over even $7,000 in a year. And that is absolutely ridiculous, and it's just a product of the laws that are being handed down, but it's not equalized. And so I would just urge empathy from the public. If a neighbor says that, you know, the taxes are really high and they're struggling, they might have a very different rate than you do if you're not. And everybody's is going to be very unique in how it's assessed. And so please keep that in mind, and anything that the city can do to educate about both of those things. I think generally the public understands that we have to pay to buy things like fire engines and pay for the folks running into burning buildings. But I don't think that they understand that we're also paying for the folks who did that 20 years ago. And I think that's an important recognition because we are going to honor those promises. That's it, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Was there anybody else who wished to speak?
Yes, Your Honor. Again, I wanted to reiterate what Mayor Bertram Bliss and Councilor Wright thanking the Finance Department for their awesome job of working on that, and all city staff. Of course, City Manager Marsh for all of her time spent on it, and all of her time she spent educating me on some of the questions I had about it. So. And to reiterate with Mayor Pro Tem Bliss on the rates, I would dare say that there probably isn't a duplicate of any tax rate that, yeah, we're all paying the 23.45%, but what you're paying that on compared to your neighbor and your neighbor and your other neighbor are totally different. So, depending on how long you've lived in your home and et cetera, et cetera. So we're really handicapped by Proposal A and Headley. We do the best we can, and I'm glad the rate didn't increase either, but it's going to be a real challenge for us coming in the next few years. And also, as I mentioned last month, as we reviewed the initial review on the budget, almost every department did take a decrease this year, and there were several projects that we put on hold because we just didn't want to increase that rate. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything from this side of the room?
Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I want to reiterate that also that our staff is doing a great job, not just with the budget, but also trying to defend and make sure that we have lower, solid waste, rates, that we're trying to get things lower there. We're trying to make sure that we lower our sewer and water rates that are from the county or from GLEWA, and we're trying to, work against the raising rates of everything, including like DTE or consumers or whoever is raising rates. The staff is always writing letters, trying to communicate with a consortium, actually, of cities that are trying to battle these rates and actually get them lower. And it's just an ongoing thing that we have to continue to do. That way that you're not always, they're not having some skyrocketing rates that are going to affect us, that's adding on to just our normal tax rates. That's it.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, so ditto. I mean, everybody has said it. I mean, everybody knows that the price of everything is going up. And for the city, our expenses are going up, but our revenues are not. I agree with Mayor Pro Tem Bliss. If we can have some kind of informational out there, that would be great. It's my understanding also that our county treasurer, Robert Wittenberg, is looking at having some kind of a town hall in the city in June to talk about property tax. So when I get more information on that, I'm happy to pass that on. If you get your tax bill, you have any questions, call the city. I mean, I think the biggest question that I get is the person before me paid X amount, why is my bill so much higher? And unfortunately, that is Proposal A and Headley combined, and it's not just Madison Heights. It's something that all the cities in Michigan struggle with. So with that, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those against say no. Motion carries 6-0. I'm now going to open the meeting to the public. I ask that you go to the podium, address your comments to me, give your name, address, any affiliation with the city, and keep it to 3 minutes. And with that, the floor is yours. Please go ahead, sir.
All of these facts are undisputed. Madison Heights, Pontiac, Ferndale must redo their whoosh on tax payments. I am suing Rosman Raffstein, Cheryl Rodman, Joe Longo, Mike Blanchard, Dennis Winkler on legal subpoena. Rosalind, Cheryl, Joe, Mike, Dennis are proving they're corrupt. Kenneth P. Hunt's proving Kenneth is corrupt. In Kenneth's no receiver on amendment, no person shall be deprived of liberty without due process of law. That's in Amendment 5 of the Constitution of the United States. Corrupt crime, undisputed, omitting.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak this evening?
Hello, Mayor. My name is Jennifer Ballantyne. I live at 27876 Rinston Street in Madison Heights. I wanted to give my opinion about the Carts Only program that we're going to be talking about tonight. Because I serve on a city commission, I was invited to attend the 2 Trash Talk meetings. The meetings were very informative. The information shared during the meeting was quite informative to me. I learned several things. And I believe that the pros of the Carts Only program will be cleaner streets on trash day, less trash out in the road from people's open trash bags, possible increased efficiency for the workers that pick up our solid waste, and not to mention a cost savings to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak this evening?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Corey Haynes, 30160 Elmhurst Drive. A couple of things I just wanted to mention. I sat through the meeting last week, and I was very impressed by our city attorney, Larry Sherman, and our city manager, Melissa Marsh, at the way they handled the comments from Commissioner Woodward. It just shows me the passion that you both still have, and it was great to see that, and it was great to see you stand up to somebody like the county. As I sat there and listened to that, I could think of 2 things. One, does the county really expect us to believe that they mismanaged $2.5 million over how many years? And if they did, that's a real problem. Or number 2, are they just now creating a whole new scheme of the way they're going to tax and rate the assessments? So again, kudos to you guys for that. I wanted to thank Councilman Soltis He invited me along, and I went with a senior trip to Lansing. It was a wonderful time. The seniors, they're just amazing. It was an amazing trip down. Got to learn a lot about them and hang out with them for a day. It was a good time. And finally, the other thing was this weekend, Landfair had their 5K. It was well attended and another really good event. Like seeing the use of Civic Center Park. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Everyone will get a chance. No, you're fine. No, you're up. You're up already. Go ahead. You're fine. You're fine. Everyone gets a chance.
That's right, no fighting. Martha Covert, 28609 Edward. I see on the consent agenda, court improvements. That's really good, because I know there's still file drawers in the basement over there from 1988. I know that their carpet hasn't been redone since 1992. The furniture, some of it came from when we were in what used to be the old council chambers. We took over on a weekend in 1992. So I appreciate you guys giving them actually some new furniture finally. That's really good. And the one thing I do have to say is, Rosalind, I was a little upset last week when you closed public comment for the commissioners, when only the one woman got to speak, and I didn't get a chance to say what I wanted to say. I understand the coalition was here and that was there, but I just want you to know that kind of made me mad, but there it is.
All right, thank you. Is anyone else wishing to speak?
Hi, Mayor Grafstein. My name is Kathy Ellison. I live at 1716 East Grieg, Madison Heights. I would like to comment on the CART system. I joined the Environmental Citizens Committee, and I'd like to say that we've all experienced changes in our lives, and it can be difficult to make a change, but a lot of times a change can be beneficial. And I believe, well, I know the CART system is less expensive, which is good for the budget. And also, the CART system will help the garbage men who often get injured while they're trying to help us by picking up our trash. Also, it promotes recycling. And I hope City Council will approve the CART system. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Hi, Cindy Holder, 901 East Lincoln. I just had some questions about the CART system. Not a lot is out there. Sean had put something on Facebook, which is the reason that I'm here today. I know my brother lives in Sterling Heights. They last year had done this, and anybody who had bought garbage cans prior cannot use them any longer. So I made an investment a few years back, and I want to say it was $70. So I want to know, is that just now another piece of landfill if this passes? Because if I can't use it, and it's big, I got it for that very reason. So that was concerning to me. I know that was one of the drawbacks that he has experienced with this kind of turnover. I have two neighbors that, and I don't know, are you giving us new ones? I haven't heard. If you are not talking about taxes and stuff, I have a house that's across the street from me in the south end whose taxes are over $8,000 now. It's not just in the north end. So a garbage bag versus a savings in taxes, I just want the whole scope to please be considered, because it's not as simple as, and like I said, if other information is out there, I haven't seen it. I just know I saw this, I've talked to people, and so I have concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And can you do that? So we're going to address that. Yeah, we're going to address that. Oh, sorry, do you want me to
No, I'm going to address it when we get to the agenda item. I have a
Yeah.
presentation that we did to the trash
Yeah.
talk, so it's kind of
Yeah,
summarized,
yeah, okay, so we are not going to address it right this moment, but when we get to it, your questions will be answered. All right, is there anyone else who has any comments or anything? All right, so I'm going to close public comment. We have one that was sent in.
Okay, this is from, let's see, from Jennifer Bowen. Dear City Council members, I'm writing to voice my support of carts only. It's safer for trash hauling workers and it's more efficient cost-wise. It's also a cleaner option as pests can't get into the carts like the can when a plastic bag is placed on the curb. I hope we can have a safer, cleaner, and cheaper option for carts only in Madison Heights. Kind regards, Jennifer Bowen.
Thank you. So the solid waste is coming up, okay? We're not ignoring you. We're just going to go through the agenda, all right? And I will say, Mrs. Holder, when we get to that, if you don't feel your questions have been answered, let me know, all right? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to ask for a motion now to approve the consent agenda as written.
Your Honor?
Your Honor, we're closing public comment first.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Just want to make sure.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, yeah, I'll make the motion that we adopt the consent agenda as listed.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, support.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, I will just make one comment, and that is Martha Covert, who spoke earlier, and she was talking about we and the courts. She worked at the courts, so she was part of that, and so that's where she has this in-depth knowledge. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that say no, motion carries. Our first bid award is actually the contract for assessing services with Assessment Administration Services, LLC.
So at the last city council meeting, we had representatives from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners and the Oakland County CFO who discussed the increases that we're going to be experiencing with assessing services. If you recall, at the public comment period at the end, I told everyone we were evaluating options. So after evaluating our options, I would like to recommend that the city actually let the contract with Oakland County expire at June 30th and enter into a contract with Assessment Administrative Services, LLC, as the assessor of record services, selecting option 2 from their proposal, which is just various hours. So the option provides 1 day a week of on-site staffing plus an additional 16 hours per month of a certified assessor, along with remote availability and fieldwork support. This level of service is a significant increase in the hours of support over the city, that the city currently receives from Oakland County. It is an annual contract with a flat fee, so you heard some of the Oakland County representatives talk about these hidden fees. There are no hidden fees in this contract. It's $229,980 in the first year with a 4% annual increase. This is within our current budget of $237,787. However, there will be additional fees in moving to the local version of BS&A equalization software. Therefore, staff and I respectfully request that City Council's approval of this contract with AAS for a 3-year period pending final legal review, and it will start on July 1st of this year.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion from council to approve this contract,
Your Honor.
please?
Motion to approve.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, I will support.
The motion has been made and seconded.
That's option 2. Motion to approve option 2.
Your Honor, would the maker and the support also include that it's pending final legal review?
Okay. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Fleming?
Yes.
All right. Option 2, pending legal review. All right, is there any discussion?
Your Honor?
Go ahead.
I just want to say a huge shout out to our staff. Oakland County, the commissioners dropped a huge bomb on us. An increase that effectively doubles rates. And to be able to find a vendor on this short notice, not every other community is going to be able to do that. These vendors can only take a couple of new clients. They don't have that type of support. There are going to be neighbors, our communities that are friends of ours, that are going to be stuck either paying what Oakland County is now charging them or starting an in-house assessor's office after years of not having one. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So I would encourage our residents to, first and foremost, celebrate and thank our city staff for very quickly fixing what would have been a huge problem. Like, this comes in under the projected budget. The last one, we would have had to make additional cuts in a budget amendment. And we just talked about how difficult the budget was and how tight that was. This was a significant increase in the service that the county had been providing for years without any notice and no awareness. So the county decision makers, all right, I assured everyone that there is no lies in this. You can check both the meeting minutes. We've published some information about this. The short background is that the county decided that there was going to be a substantial increase instead of just a standard cost of living one. I could have even seen, me personally, a 10 or 15% one-time sort of adjustment to get things back to be able to manage cost increase. But instead, I believe it was 77% increase. And I don't know if anybody's ever received a 77% increase on anything, but I got to tell you, if Netflix did that to me, I wouldn't have Netflix anymore. And that's the same type of situation that we have here. We are fortunate. Our staff acted fast. They were leaders on this, and we now have a replacement that will hopefully do great work for us and is going to do it at and under the budget that we already set for the year. So thank you to staff, and I'd encourage our residents to send messages to our county commissioner and other members of that board of commissioners, and let them know that they would need to really readjust their priorities instead of crippling cities like ours at the last minute. That's it, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Is anyone else who wishes to speak?
Your Honor,
Mr. Sherman,
I'd like to make a couple of comments
please.
relating to first Oakland County and then the vendor assessment administration services LLC that we met with shortly after the meeting. The lack of notice provided by the county was outrageous. The fact they were proposing a 78% increase without any notice was absurd. And so when the Board of Commissioners met on May 1st, 3 or 4 days after we had our council meeting, they passed an amendment which supposedly smoothed the rates, as they described it, where the first year would be a 25% increase, and the rest of it would be backloaded into the second and third years. So our rate would have been an annual rate from $230,000 that we're currently paying in the current fiscal year to $400 and some odd thousand in year 2, and even higher in year 3. And Melissa and staff and I jumped on the fact of interviewing other providers that provide this same service. I was very impressed with AAS in terms of not just their ability to do the job, but how many municipalities they represent in Lapeer, Lenawee, Hillsdale, Macomb, and Oakland County. And they're ready to step in July 1st and do the job at a tremendous cost savings to the taxpayers. In fact, less than what we paid for the last fiscal year. So instead of 4% increases, which we were used to and expecting, we've decided to go in a different direction because of the money grab proposed by the county in this circumstance. And many other communities are in the same boat, but we had to do what we thought was best for the city and best for our citizens, and that's what's being proposed tonight. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, or?
I just had one question about implementation for, I guess, for our city manager. Do we anticipate any ramp up in service or interruption in service as we transition from the county to these folks? Is it they just pick up July 1st and take the ball from there? How does that work?
No, it should be very seamless, so we'll have implementation meeting before that, but then residents will actually see a staff person here to answer their assessing questions way more frequently than they currently do. So there won't be any interruption in service, and actually it will be improved service starting in July.
Awesome. Okay. So we're going to save money and have better service?
Yes.
Sounds good.
with no hidden fees. Since that was mentioned like
Okay, now
7
that
times at
seems
the
a
last
little
meeting.
Too far.
Anything else?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Again, kudos to the staff and City Manager Marsh for coming up with another option for us. As we've mentioned here, getting socked with that huge increase so late in our budget process was just unacceptable. And very, very impressed with the way our staff handled it. Very disappointed in the way our county commissioner handled it. I probably, okay, I'll leave it at that. Just very disappointed in the way that was handled by our county commissioner, not representing us as I feel she should have. Sorry, almost did. I was gonna make some other comment, but it's a better service that we're gonna get now, and as City Attorney Sherman said, it's gonna end up costing us less than what we were paying with the Oakland County last year, so. Great job, thank you.
Any other comments?
Your Honor, I'd like to give the audience, the people here and people watching online, the actual numbers here, because I think it's really important that we talk about that for a minute here. For the Oakland County, assessing, they wanted to charge us in 2026, $290,000, with an increase of 2027 that would go up close to $419,000, and in 2028 it would be over $500,000, right? Then for this new contract that we're going to hopefully approve here, and I'm for it also, is that it's going to be $229,980 with a 4% annual increase. That's a lot less. That's almost half of $500,000. That's $200 and something thousand that we can apply somewhere else in the budget. And I think it's really great that we were able to get a deal like that from someone that is not the county. And I'm just kind of sad also that the county is not, working with the cities to really give us an affordable cost that we can afford. But that's just the way it is.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments? All right, so I would like to thank County Commissioner Charlie Cavell. He said a lot of things that, we've been saying here. He really went to bat to fight for all his communities as well as ours. Charlie Cavell is not our county commissioner, but he did the right thing, which was representing his residents and his constituents, which is what we try and do. We don't always get along. We have different ideas sometimes about what it means to, what the right thing is when we're trying to represent our residents. But at the end of the day, I know for me, and I think it's true for everyone, that we're doing what we think is right for our residents, and how anybody could look at this and say, I think the best thing for Madison Heights is to do this, is just absolutely outrageous. And so I just want to thank Charlie Cavell for doing that and for standing up for us, because really, he did. It didn't go anywhere. The county commission still voted to approve this. And I don't know if it makes sense for us to take a look and see what else we do with the county that we might want to review, because it's very clear, based on the meeting last time and on this outcome, that even though our residents are their residents, they're not looking out for all our best interests. So it's just a thought. If we had to accept this, I'm not quite sure how that would have worked out, because, we were in the process of finalizing our budget. And this wasn't something where we could say, oh, let's just pull it from somewhere else. It would have been a huge difference. So that is my final thought on that. All in favor with this, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Motion carries 6-0. And then finally, we have from the Director of Public Services, the solid waste hauling and disposal.
So I actually do have a really short presentation, but I'm briefly going to read the comments first. So on May the 7th, we issued an invitation to bid for the solid waste collection and disposal services. The bid was based on our existing solid waste contract and requested status quo services, which is called Cart Plus, with preferred alternatives for a cart-only program, possible food scrap integration with a yard waste program, and any other innovative and cost-saving measures that the prospective bidders wish to present. Through this process, we received bids from one provider, Priority Waste. After extensive evaluation of the bid by staff and with the guidance and feedback of council and the unanimous decision of the residents who attended our trash talk discussions, we recommended that city council transition to a cart-only program. Staff recommends that council accept the bid and award a 5-year contract to Priority Waste with the option to extend, including alternative pricing options for assisted services for permanently disabled residents and alternate pricing for options A, cart only, and C, DPS roll-off, and authorize the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and enter into the contract with Priority Waste. This represents an estimated 1-year cost of $1,814,070, pending verification of the number of service units. And so we did have 2 trash talk meetings. Those meetings were open to the public. We invited all the resident members of our boards and commissions, and we also put it out on social media, and I think there was a blurb in the CNG, to get the residents to attend, and many of those residents have taken the time to come here to this meeting tonight. So I apologize, you've already seen most of this presentation, but this is a really quick condensed version, which will also answer many questions that we've seen on Facebook and also brought up tonight during public comment. So the Environmental Citizens Committee have reviewed this. The public trash talk meetings, as I just talked about, we actually had 17 residents. These residents came, like I said, 2 times. They listened to a presentation. They reviewed the RFP. They reviewed the bids. And then we had a pretty detailed conversation on the cart-only system. We also had some carts available for them to try out, push around, see how it went. And we also had a public survey. So just really quickly, for those of you who, many of you have been in the city for a very long time, but back in the day, we used to have an in-house program for waste management. The cost of this in-house program for personnel wages alone were approximately $2.2 million. This didn't consider workers' compensation or additional workers needed beyond that 1997 level, so that was when this program was done away with. It also does not include equipment, which in 2019 would have cost an additional $1.2 million and is estimated to have gone up a minimum of about 25% since then. So there were a lot of comments about why don't we just bring this, back to the good old days, but that really is impossible. So where are we now? We currently have a contract with Priority Waste, used to be GFL. We've been in this contract since 2010. Well, we've only been with Priority Waste since July, but the total contract has been going on since 2010. It's a semi-automated Cart Plus service, and the contract currently expires this June 30th of 2025. As I just said in the comments, we requested bids for service for the Cart Plus, exactly like what we currently have. We also asked for a fully automated carts-only program with additional bulk pickup and assistance options. So trash pickup and recycling is funded different ways in each community. Just like Mark Bliss and Bill Muir were just saying, it's very hard to compare your taxes to your neighbors. It's even harder to compare your taxes to another city. So every community has different taxes for different things, and they also handle their solid waste different ways. Some communities allow the residents to pick their own vendor, and you might have 3 or 4 different trash companies rolling down your street in a day. Some residents have to contract with the vendor themselves. Madison Heights chooses to do that for you, and you pay it as part of your taxes. So residents don't really see exactly how much they pay for this service. I do know in other communities that pay directly to Priority Waste, the average amount is $57.90 a quarter. That's $231.60 a year these other communities are paying. Madison Heights contracts us through the city, as I just said, with taxes. under Public Act 298 of 1917. So residents actually pay 2.4283 mills, so the millage that City Council just approved of 25.4 mills, 2.4283 mills of that goes directly to pay for trash hauling and recycling. With the average household market value in Madison Heights being $225,000 now and a taxable value of around $60,000, that equates to about $145 a year a resident pays for weekly trash pickup and recycling and yard clipping. This includes not only, so that your tax dollars not only pay for this contract with Priority Waste and recycling and yard waste, but it also pays for things like the spring cleanup day, which happened this last weekend, street cleanup, city wood chipping, litter pickup, and the equipment. The millage has not covered this solid waste service since 2013, and you can see on the bar chart here, the green is the revenue that we bring in from the millage, the red is the actual expenditures. There are some spikes in years, like in 2023, we had to buy a new street sweeper and a dump truck, and in 2025 was the $500,000 for the recycling carts and trash carts. So you see the revenue, we got a $500,000 grant, and then the expenditures is the $500,000 for recycling and another $500 for trash. Whoop. So we did do a public survey, and these were the results of the survey. So 64.3% of the people were very satisfied with their trash. 14% were dissatisfied. 14% were somewhat dissatisfied, and 7% were somewhat satisfied. Which factors are the most important to you in the waste collection system? Nobody mentioned cost. Most people mentioned environmental impact, but they also thought that efficiency and just seeing the trash or the carts on their streets were important. And what do you think the biggest barrier in people recycling in Madison Heights? So lack of trust that recycling is actually recycled. We've all seen those things on Facebook that they dump the recycling straight in the trash can. Laziness on the residents' part, they just don't want to do it. Lack of recycling education, and then lack of recycling carts. So we currently have those little small toters unless you've bought a recycling cart yourself. So to get into the differences between Cart Plus and Carts Only, which is what council will be deciding tonight or when they approve the contract, some of the pros of the Carts Only system are residents are accustomed to this service. They've been doing it this way forever. They basically take whatever they want to the street, they leave it there and expect the trash people to come and pick it up. And it's convenient. You have bulk items, convenient for those who have bulk items consistently. The cons are it's the most expensive option. There are problems with litter on streets, and I have quite a few photos that we took just last week during trash pickup. It's slower and less efficient. There's a high frequency of employee injuries back to the company, and the uncontained bags attract animals, which you will see in a little bit. The Carts Only program offers about $200,000 savings a year. It reduces litter from loose bags and uncontained items. It eliminates potential food sources for rats. It keeps the collection streamlined and improves the look of trash pickup in our community. It reduces the amount of waste going in the landfills because hopefully people will recycle better if they have two different types of carts. And it also protects water runoff because when you have these bags that somebody has torn into and then it rains, that stuff all ends up into our system. So some of the cons are there's a risk of residents overfilling their bins, and to one of the questions, if you currently have a trash can, it is my understanding that you can keep that trash can if you think you have a lot, and you can get the new trash can, so you actually can have two. And there are options that roll carts may not be easy for everyone to use, but we have found that it's actually, in some cases, easier for people, especially if they're trying to drag one of the traditional trash cans to the street. And we plan on having some trash cans, carts around City Hall and the Active Adult Center for people to try out. And then, of course, there's resident pushback. People don't typically like change. So these are just some show and tell photos. This was just from last week. This is around your neighborhoods. So we had an employee took it upon herself to drive around and take some pictures. So this was just down a few of the streets that probably many of you live on. So these are the types of issues that would be resolved with a cart-only system. We've already talked briefly about the cost, so the cart plus is about 2 million, and the cart only is 1.8, but those costs do get increased each year by 3%. So each year, the 2 million, of course, goes up higher than the 1.8. And then we have some examples of, over the course of 5 years, it's going to save about $1 million. So what could $1 million fund? It could fund 20 police cars. It could fund 1 fire truck these days, 2,500 trees, the entire renovation of McGilvery Park, or about 2.5 play structures. This addresses many of the questions that we've seen on Facebook. So I have a large family and my cart is small, so you can buy additional carts if you want. We are giving everybody carts, and I'm going to get into that a little bit. So everybody will end up getting a trash cart. They will be getting a recycling cart, September at the latest. We're trying to do it a little earlier, but the order has already been placed, so that will be coming soon. But if you already have a trash cart and you want to use that, you can use that and the new cart. If you don't want to use your trash cart, they are being recycled, not just going to the landfill. I have a disability and my cart's too big to push, so Priority Waste does offer an assistance program for disabled residents. You can sign up for that at the DPS. I just talked about this. I have too many carts, so you can recycle your old cart. That is a program through Cascade. And then I don't have a trash cart. I've already answered these. The city's going to be giving a trash cart and recycling cart, and sometimes I have bulk items, so we will still have 1 bulk item a week, every week that we're doing the trash program. So this is the cart rollout update. The carts are on order. They are planning to be delivered September 2025. It was originally delayed. We were going to roll these out this past July, but with the switch from GFL to Priority, there was just a lot going on, and that ended up getting delayed. The funding sources, we got a $500,000 grant to provide these carts. Another $500,000 came from the general fund, but with the savings of a Cart Plus, there is a return on that investment, so we will be paid back in less than 3 years. I think that's about it. The rest of these have pretty well been answered. Many communities around us have already moved to cart only, so I've got a quick little list. We have reached out and talked to many of them. Cindy mentioned that she has relatives that live in Sterling Heights. Their city manager says personally he couldn't imagine ever going back to loose trash on the curb. They did have quite a few resident complaints the first month, but after that it has died down drastically. And these are just some quotes. We have been in conversations with Eagle. Cart only is the best practice. It promotes recycling and does help with the water runoff. And then we had a quote from the council president in Flint, which used the exact same recycling cart grant program to implement the same program. So with that, there are 2 representatives here from Priority Waste, and Sean Valentine is here from the DPS. So I will just open it to City Council if you have any questions or anything else.
First, I want to see Mrs. Holder. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, the only
Okay.
thing I wanted to make absolutely clear is the green card I have now, they're gonna take trash with.
Yes, and you will be getting another cart too. You can keep both, or you can recycle one, or whatever your
You
choice.
can keep the one you have.
Yes. You can, so if you purchased, in the last 5 years, I think it would be, and there's a 10-year warranty on them, if you purchased one or both, those are yours to keep and to keep using. The city will be giving you new ones, so you can use the new ones and the old ones, or you can recycle, or you can give to your neighbor, or whatever. Please don't throw it in the garbage. It will be recycled if you don't want to use it. I bought a recycling toter a few years ago, so I'm going to have 2 now, which is great because I use it. So I'm going to open, if there's any questions from council. I'm going to start on this end because you guys keep talking. You go first.
I'm just curious, do we have raccoons? Because I saw raccoons on that.
That might have been a cartoon raccoon, but there are raccoons in Madison Heights. Oh, there's a bird in the picture there. Oh, that's a cartoon raccoon. Yeah, no, that's just for illustrative purposes, but I'm sure there are. Yeah, so Sean says we have raccoons and possums tearing into the trash.
We do. We have possums, that's for sure.
Oh, yes.
So any other comments, Mr. Fleming, anything?
Your Honor?
No, okay, yes.
Unless you were going to open back up to the public, we would need a motion from council for discussion, right?
I thought we
is
had a
that-
motion. Oh, my apologies, we do
Sorry.
not have a motion, my apologies. All right, can I get a motion to approve one of these? I get a motion from council regarding this?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that council approves the bid to award a 5-year contract to Priority Waste with an option to extend, including alternative pricing, option assistance services to be paid by the city, and an alternative pricing option A, cart only, and C, DPS roll-off, and authorize the city manager to negotiate and enter into a contract with Priority Waste pending legal review.
All right, thank you. Is there support? All right, thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. And now, is there any discussion, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, so I sat in on the sessions. There were 2 sessions open to the public about the cart-only program, and I will be honest with you, my initial feedback going into it was that we just keep everything the way it is. It works great. I've seen people throw out their entire home, and it was gone before the sun came up. And so I thought that residents don't like change a lot, and that it would be a big deal if we were to make a change, and a lot of confusion, frustration, and folks kind of not enjoying that process. However, after attending the discussions and hearing from residents firsthand that the cart-only program was something that they were open to, and also taking into consideration the feedback that I was seeing online as to concerns about raising costs, it became very clear to me that this was going to be our best option as we consider the cost, we consider the cost going forward, and what residents are most concerned about. And so that's why I changed my mindset to go from, while it will be a shift, it will also be a shift towards the better. And also, to Councilman Schultz's question, we absolutely have raccoons and possums. I've seen them, I've seen them in live action at night crossing the street. And, you know, for those of us who have little dogs, or I got a big doodle, but, you know, you look out for them in your backyard, because, you know, they're not that friendly always, those raccoons. Possums are our friends. But for a lot of reasons, we're protecting our resident, the trash in the street that we saw. A lot of folks don't realize that once you sit your trash to the curb, believe it or not, Madison Heights is windy, and sometimes when you put it out, it gets blown away, and when it blows down the street, somehow people forget that it was there. So I think the trash cans will help with that. And the final thing I did want to say that really kind of changed my mind is this is just an opportunity for us to create community, because some of the concerns from our seniors were like, they're like, I don't create a lot of trash, and I don't have the ability to roll that trash can down. For those who can't, it's an opportunity to get to know your neighbors and just say, hey, I have 1 bag of trash. Can I just throw it in your can? And, you know, hopefully they say yes. If they don't, go ask the other neighbor. If they don't, wait till it gets dark and just, you know. I didn't say that, but my point is that it's an opportunity to create community, and it's become evidently clear as we can connect this to the tax assessing and the cost we need. The money that we're saving is not going to be additional. There are additional expenses that we have to cover in the budget, and this can help us to do that. It won't be extra money, and so for all those reasons, I think we should all vote yes.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Council?
Your Honor?
Yes.
So first off, I want to say that I appreciate our staff for doing the trash talks. I enjoyed watching it while I was sick with the flu. I also appreciate DPS Director Ballantyne for going back and forth with me on this issue for the past, 6 to 8 weeks. I was really, really trying to get to a yes on carts only. I appreciate that it's a lower cost that'll help to pay back the $500,000 that was invested to buy the carts. While not a true cost savings, it will help us pay back the investment that was made. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the comments around less rodents and the rogue and errant trash, and all of those things are 100% true and accurate. What I was sad and disappointed about is that there was no free plan or program that was created in advance of this decision to accommodate those with disabilities, outside of charging them nearly $200 a year for a service to be able to take those cans out to the curb, or relying on asking neighbors or family that some people just don't have in our neighborhoods. And so I think that trying a cart on a level floor inside is very different than navigating that cart on the narrow driveways that we have around a car, up onto the grass, in snowy environments and things. And I do think that that would be a challenge for some of our residents. I think making the decision, because the majority of our residents would have no problem with it, it feels a little ableist to me. It feels that we're not taking into account the people that are struggling. I had a resident call me after the recent news article who is permanently disabled in a wheelchair, brings out one bag of trash to the curb when she hears the truck coming down the street. All she brings out. And she's terrified that now that bag won't be picked up, or she'll have to use the $200 a year for that service. And that makes me a little terrified. And I do understand a lot of these other communities are doing this, but they don't have the same type of build that our community does. Most of our houses are built on small lots prior to 1980, many of which in the 50s. And some of those driveways are incredibly narrow. So it makes me a little bit worried about it. I've said it before, I think that progress without empathy is not progress. And if we had a component in this where we took 20% of the projected savings in the payback period and set it aside to be able to pay for that service for the limited number of residents who really need it, it would be an easy yes vote for me. But that hasn't come and taken effect. I expressed with staff my displeasure in the idea that a resident would have to pay $200 for that, and we don't have that yet. There's also no code on what happens if somebody just puts a trash out that's not in these cans. Is it going to just not be collected? Is it going to be sitting there? Are they going to collect it anyways, but then issue a ticket? I don't quite know what that would happen. I also don't believe any of the black cans would be truly recycled. Black plastic is generally not recyclable because there's a carbon black pigment in those trash cans. And because it absorbs light, it makes it really difficult for sorting machines in recycling facilities to be able to identify and separate it from other plastics. And so a lot of the trash cans in our city that people have bought, the 30 gallons, the smaller ones, that would then be picked up under this program are going to end up in landfills. And so I have real problems with it. I really tried to get to a point where I could support it and get to a yes, but I can't. I'd love it if there's a suggestion, if there's a way that we could allocate some money, or if there was a community foundation or program that would be able to cover that type of payment for those with disabilities, I would 100% support it, and I will change my vote right here at the table. But if we can't take care of those who are struggling, then I think we should go with the status quo, at least for another contract term where we can iron out the other details. That's just my opinion, Your Honor.
So I have a comment. I apologize, because I must have cut the comments short trying to hurry along through the proposal, because the recommendation from city staff, based on your conversations with Sean, is to have the assisted service for permanently disabled residents where they would go to the DPS and sign up. So that's city, they have to prove that, and that's city paid through the program. But we kind of I didn't elaborate on that because I was all obsessed here with the presentation. So I think that addressed the concerns, at least, that you had with Sean. And Sean, welcome to come to the podium and talk a bit about it, or Dan, or whoever.
Yeah, I may have missed it with your reading of the recommendation, but it is worded, option to extend, including alternate pricing option assisted service to be paid by the city, and alternate pricing option A card only and C DPS roll-off based on the feedback from council that the city would pick up that program cost. The way it would look and feel is, we're still working it out. It would be an annual enrollment. the resident would need to provide proof somehow of permanent disability. The whole intent is that this is not a concierge service. I have an extra $15 a month, so I just don't feel like taking my trash. But for those residents who absolutely genuinely need this service, do not have that support network, and just need that help getting their can from the side of their house or wherever out to the street. But again, that would originally be proposed, it was originally proposed as the resident picking up that cost, but it was amended to the city picking up that cost.
Your Honor, I appreciate that. And I will do as I said. I will change my vote to support. I appreciate that, and that's a great change. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Your Honor, I
Yes.
do have a question about the disabled veterans, not disabled veterans, on my mind yet. Disabled residents, with the trash pickup service here, what will be the way that you'll identify as now it says bona fide disabled person? There will be some type of note from a physician or, that you're a registered, disabled
So
person from
we're
a driver's
still-
license or what?
Yeah, we're still working through that, but like a social security disability or like visual, like I can clearly see someone's in a wheelchair or something like that. It will be something other than just a note from a doctor, because you could be getting that from, anyone, but something, we haven't worked through all of that yet, but we still have to like develop the program and the form that they fill out and that kind of thing, and seeing like what Priority Waste, I understand, has had this program in other communities, so what types of documentation do they require, and what types of things have they seen in other communities to work through that?
All right,
I mean,
'cause
the whole-
I just want to make sure that, like, we don't have certain people that have, like, back problems or any other, issues that they cannot, move this 96 gallon, it's going to, container that's going to be weighing 50 pounds maybe with all their trash in it or more, and they have to get it to the curb through the snow and whatever else around their vehicles on trash day because you can't park on the street, right? And then, here we are, turning somebody away who has chronic pain issues.
Well, we will be having carts in different locations as well for people to try, because the carts, and Mike Sally even brought this up at the public meeting, are easier to take out to the road than sometimes your bag of trash. I mean, I have a neighbor that has a walker, and she brings hers to the road. Now, if I see her, I do go do it for her. I don't want people to think I just watch her from my window, but she's able to do it. And so it is actually easier, in my opinion, and we had several residents, seniors that were at the Trash Talk meeting, and they both had talked to the community at the AAC and had identified that the people that have carts actually find it easier than what they're doing currently. But, I mean, we still have to work through what the paperwork's gonna be for the disabled resident. We don't want somebody that's just had knee surgery and can't take their trash out for 6 weeks coming to sign up and be on the list for a year. So we need to put some type of restrictions in place, and then, like to Sean's point, it's not like a free-for-all service, like you just don't want to do it, so you're going to stop by and sign up. So we still have to develop the program, but we're going to be working with Priority Waste to figure out really the best way to do that. And hopefully nobody abuses it, but probably at least one person will try, but hopefully not.
All right, well, I just want to make sure that we're being inclusive with all the people that have disabilities that you may not really know about or see with a wheelchair or anything else like that. But also, on top of that, I want to say that, if not everybody who has some type of ailment, like, some people can push a cart, at 80, and some people can't, not everybody is as able as the next senior citizen. So, that's why I think that that we're not going to be turning down people, and the next thing we have a lawsuit saying, we didn't, we're being discriminated against people with disabilities, that's it.
Thank you. Any other?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Two quick things as a follow-up. First, if this passes tonight, could the post on Facebook notify residents of how to apply, those who might need that, so that way they can apply nearly immediately? And then I would also ask if the maker and the support would amend into their motion to specify that that program will be at no cost to those disabled in our city.
All right. Mr. Wright?
I do accept that. I did have a question first, however, isn't that what we just said? Wasn't that what you were just saying a minute ago, that it will be of no cost? Or is it, are we making a change to our verbiage already?
I don't think you actually said those words in your,
But that, is that what
Motion.
you guys had already presented in the report when I read it right? Did I read that?
that's what
Okay,
was
okay.
intended, but
I
it
accept
just doesn't say city paid in the actual council
I accept it.
motion that I read.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and we're not making a minor modification just based on verbiage. It sounded to me like we were already on that same page, but I accept it. Yep.
Yes, that was our understanding.
Okay.
Mr. Soltis, you accept the change as well?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, any other comments from?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
So, all the questions that have been thrown out there, I was concerned with them also. I think we've addressed them. I was very concerned with the points that Councilman or Mayor Pro Tem Bliss brought up on the seniors. I'm glad that we're going to absorb that cost for the ones that are truly disabled. And I guess I would send a plea out to our residents that if you know of a neighbor, or if there's a neighbor in your neighborhood who may not qualify as disabled but struggles with getting the card out, please just help. The cost saving that this will help the city with, I've said before, I'm a numbers guy, and it gives us a payback on the $4.5 or $500 million that we're investing in these carts. The payback's going to be just a little over 3 years, so that's a great return on investment. I wasn't here when we made that decision to buy these carts, and I probably would have had a hard time supporting it, I think, as Mayor Pro Tem Bliss did at the time. But since we did adopt it, I'd like to look for a way to repay it, and the Carts-Only program can do that in a little over 3 years. So please help your neighbors if they're struggling, if we pass these cards. Thank you.
All right, anything else? Anything else? Okay, so I appreciate the clarification. I know when I was talking to whomever a few weeks ago, I thought that the residents who wanted to do this, it was going to be provided and they were paying for it. So I appreciate the clarification that this is something that the city will be paying for residents who qualify. Someone who doesn't want to, doesn't qualify. Someone who cannot because of a legitimate disability, they can show whatever proof is going to be determined, they qualify. So I will be voting yes on this. And with that, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. All right, motion carries 6-0. And now I invite closing comments, starting with Councilman Meir.
Great to celebrate the Police Officers Week and the DPS, lifeblood of the city for sure. Kudos to all those folks. So good to see those presentations tonight. The Arts Board is having prom on Friday. Tickets are still available to that. Looking forward to going. I still haven't quite figured out what character I'm going to portray in my costume. Not to be outdone, the library is having baby prom on the 14th, so that will be a lot of fun for some of our younger residents. Saturday is a big day in Madison Heights. It's Little League opening day. It's the Friend of Library book sale and the Fling into Spring food truck rally. So get out and have some fun on Saturday and hope for good weather. That's it.
All right, thank you, Pro Tem Bliss.
Yes, Your Honor, a couple things. I'm really thankful that the staff listened to comments from me and our other residents to amend that program. Would have been great, and we would have saved everybody 5 minutes of my presentation if I had known that beforehand. But I appreciate the amendment and that change, because people are, I don't want to run into any type of a situation where we just assume as a city that because it's easy for me, for us, or for my neighbor, that it's easy for everyone. And so that was a great change. I'd love a little bit more insight as it becomes available on how we're determining that status, whether it's age or just straight up disability that's factored in. I would like it to be as inclusive as it possibly can be. If it adds an extra year to the payback period on that $500,000 investment, I'm okay with that, if more residents are able to be helped and assisted. I would rather one person be gaming the system than to have one person left out that really needed it. So thank you to staff, I appreciate that. I also have a really hard time letting go of the county assessing issue. I'm incredibly disappointed in our county commissioner and the other representatives. Everyone, who didn't work to stop this, like Charlie Cavill did, should be ashamed of themselves. I think that type of a decision, while not a direct impact on the residents, is the type of decision that you only make if you're disconnected from what's actually happening in communities. And, it's not just us. Our county commission district is heavily affected because Hazel Park just are doing their own resolution, like we did at the last meeting, to be able to how do I put it? Showcase their anger and hope that the county board changes its mind. But I don't think that it will, and I'm glad that we were able to come up with a great alternative for us in the short term. But the fact that that number is so low actually makes me even more irritated at our county commissioners for trying to raise it so high when the actual market costs are below even what they charged us last year. They should be ashamed. That would have never happened when Gary McGilvery was our commissioner. Never happened. And so I hope that this was a one-time blip. I truly believe that the majority of those members, I've known a lot of them personally for many years. I know that they are good people. I think they were given very bad information from county staff. And I hope and I urge our residents to reach out to them to ensure that they don't make another decision like that again. It's okay to raise things to market value. Absolutely. Do that. We all understand that. But it gets a little excessive when you start passing 20, 50, and 70% higher. That's too much. And finally, as Councilman Mears said, the Arts Gala is Friday. This is a Broadway-themed, so we're going to have a lot of Elphabas and Glindas there dressed up, and we're going to be honoring a member of our community, Natalie Mlodky, who was a star on the stage at Lamfair and then went on to be a choreographer for Broadway shows as well as Saturday Night Live. And so really cool. Come out, support her, support the Arts Board. The board has done some phenomenal things through the years, and it's fundraisers like this that enable us to do it. There's a limited number of tickets still available. The link is on the Arts Board Facebook page. You do not want to miss it, and if you can't make it but you still want to support the Arts Board, reach out to me or the city Facebook page, because you can sponsor a ticket for somebody who can't afford to make it. We've had a couple of our city contractors who have done just that, where they've sponsored tickets for those who can't afford to be there, and that is absolutely an option as well. So hope to see everybody there. I don't remember the name of the character, but I'm just kind of arm candy for my wife, who's going as Elle Woods from Legally Blonde the musical. I don't know what the attorney is that I'm playing, but it'll be a really fun night regardless. That's it, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright?
Thank you. I would love to attend the prom, and I encourage you guys to, but unfortunately I have to coach a girls' basketball game that night. So I'll be dressed as a coach and unable to attend. Last weekend, I got to pretend to run in the Lamfair 5K. The thing I loved was it was a run and a walk, So I encourage you guys to all do it next year. I will forewarn you, at one point you do have to go up the hill and you have to come back down. So, think about that. But it was good to get out and be active in the community. And I wanted to thank Councilman Soltis for allowing me to come along to the Older Michiganian Days as well. I serve on the Active Adult Advisory Board, and it was awesome to go up there. And I'd like to thank Michael McFall, Representative Michael McFall, and Senator Stephanie McChang for just being available. It's a great day of advocacy for our seniors and for what they need and important issues put on by a great group. And I was very happy to be a part of that and for not, quite honestly, all of us here have direct lines, to our legislators, because we are elected officials. But it's nice when our residents we can connect them as well, because they can hear it from you, and it has more power when we support what you guys say. So I'm happy that Dave has been doing that. How many years have you been doing that, Dave? For like 50?
Since 2016, I
2016. So, and I'm sure it'll be something that we continue to do for a long time. So, thank you to our law enforcement officers and to our DPS folks for the work that they all do to keep our city moving and humming along. That's truly where our taxpayer dollar goes, is to support them. And that's something I know we all fully agree on, is supporting them to make sure that they help keep our city safe and clean and keep Madison Heights shining. So I wanted to thank them and thank everyone for their patience as we talked through the trash program, because it was a very big deal, but it also highlights some of the issues we have to deal with coming ahead with budgeting and thinking about costs for 2016, 2017, 2018, and beyond. And today we made a very responsible choice for ourselves and for our neighbors. And on that note, I know, Councilman Fleming talked about ensuring we're inclusive. And we talk a lot about that with the HREC. We actually, one of the things we've helped put on in the past is the ADA Pride celebration event in July. I don't believe we're going to do it this year in Madison Heights, but I would encourage you guys to check that out and see what that means. One of the things that made me happy was when I looked at 13 Mile and John R., and I saw that the walkways were ADA compliant. And yeah, it's a big deal. For me, it's not a big deal yet, because I just drive over it. But when you see people walking down that ramp, and also when you think about, there's a gentleman that walks up and down my street. He's an older gentleman. He has something's going on with his leg. I don't know what it is. It's been talked about on the Facebook groups. He's fine. He's minding his own business, going for a walk, and that's what we all should do more of. But he can go up and down that walkway without issues, and that's really what we're here to do. So, I'm glad we can see that type of ADA compliance and going above just being ADA compliant in our city. Finally, I would just like to remind everyone that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And when I thought about this month, I thought about the wide spectrum of mental health and how we have programs like our co-responders with the police department, and then we know about Healing Haven that deals with domestic issues, and we have a lot of different things, but a lot of times we don't think that mental health and physical health are one and the same. You don't need to be in a crisis to address your mental health. We all have it just like we all have physical health, so we got to remember to take a breath. It's like the first thing I tell my girls when I coach them when we're down. I say, all right, take a breath. And then they all collectively give each other permission just to go. Whew. So give yourself permission to take that breath. Remember to be kind, and have a great day.
Thank you. Mr. Sherman?
Your Honor, a couple quick comments. I should have said with regard to assessing, first of all, I concur with the comments previously made, but I should have said when the issue came up tonight that the first thing the Board of Commissioners did on Thursday, May 1st, is they passed a motion to postpone action on the increase. And we were very encouraged by it. In fact, the city manager sent a text message to staff and to council indicating that, maybe they listened to what we had to say 2 weeks ago. And then they did an about-face and adopted the amendment that I talked about rather than postpone. So obviously they may have heard what we had to say that night, but the powers that be decided to continue and adopt what we called, the smoothing the rate. So I just want our citizens to know that based upon council's action tonight to approve a new assessing contract contingent upon legal review, that aside from that process will be going underway, we will also be notifying the county that we are terminating their services as of June 30th, 2025, at the end of this term's contract. Secondly, with regard to the carts-only program, people are probably not aware that the city of Madison Heights was the first city in the state of Michigan that adopted an ordinance requiring curbside recycling in 1993. And if this contract at carts only and the bigger bins to roll out recyclables helps in the recycling effort, that would be a wonderful thing, since we were the pioneers of curbside recycling. And I just wanted our citizens to be aware of it. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Marsh?
Yeah, just a few things, just to kind of piggyback on that. One of the slides that I took out of my little presentation was the fact that according to Eagle, there's only 21 years left on our landfill lives. So anything we can do to increase recycling would be helpful. But on to more interesting things, I guess. A couple weeks ago, the mayor and I were interviewed along with several residents by Local 4 News for this program in your neighborhood, which we really didn't know at that time when it was going to be aired, but it is going to show tomorrow. So tune in your TV to Channel 4 at 5 o'clock and watch them broadcast live from Madison Heights. So they are going to be at Woodpile. They're not going to be interviewing people at Woodpile. They're just going to have their stuff set up there. But if you want to see yourself in the background, feel free to go there and partake of some barbecue. And then, of course, something you've heard me talk about anytime you talk to me pretty much is pickleball. And the pickleball court grand opening is going to be May the 30th, 5:30 to 8. So if you play pickleball, I encourage you to show up. If you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, I encourage you to show up. It is the fastest growing sport in the country, although it is also my new obsession. We're going to have demonstrations. I'll be more than happy to teach you how to play. I have extra paddles. There's tons of people that are already coming that I know of, so it should be a fun time. So even if you have no idea what it is, just cruise by. The courts look absolutely beautiful. Even if you don't know what pickleball is, they are really something to be seen. They're the best courts that I've seen in all of this whole area. So that's that.
Thank you. Anything from the clerk this evening?
Just that I wanted to thank all those that came out to vote for the Lanphier School election, and for those people that worked the election. I appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. And that I wanted to remind you that June 1st is the last day to get your dog license through the city clerk's office here locally. After June 1st, you have to go to Oakland County or do it online. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fleming?
Yeah, just want to let everybody know that the Recreation Master Plan Survey is available on, you can get to it from Facebook, but is it on, our city manager, is it on the city website also?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so it is also on the city website. The Master Plan Survey is a survey that asks all sorts of questions about programs for recreation and also, what we can do better at the parks and those type of things. And even though there's not really a lot there for people with disabilities, but they have some open boxes in the survey where you can put additional comments about what you would like to see changes in programs and also, play equipment and along the lines of, people with disabilities, children and whatnot that have disabilities, and what kind of equipment you might want to see or what kind of programs you'd like to see. So I think it's really important to take the survey and participate in our decision-making for that. Secondly, the Memorial Day Parade is actually taking place this May 24th at 10 a.m. It's going to be the same route on John R. It's going to be starting just south of Wilkinson Middle School, and then it's going to go to the north at 11 Mile, and then east on 11 Mile to the high school and end there, and there'll be a service, from what I understand, at the high school, just as did last year. There is a fair going on that weekend, but there'll still be, it is not taking up the entire parking lot, I don't believe, so you'll still be able to park there. This month, the month of May, is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month. We did recently have, unfortunately, a fatality this last month, and I just want to really say that it's really important, even though we don't have a law that says you have to wear a helmet, but that's really important that you should wear a helmet. I've had two of my friends that have passed away due to motorcycle accidents, and one person that I know that had a large head injury. And we don't want to see that happen to anybody, so helmets are really important. Technology's come a long way, so, you know, your head's not completely hot, you know, or something like that. But also beware of bicyclists too. That's another, you know, it's now the summertime is coming upon us, and we have a lot of bicyclists that are riding their bikes and whatnot. So I also want to say this May is Jewish Heritage and Asian Heritage Months. I want to say that it's not about the Asian or Jewish food or the tragedies that have happened, like the Holocaust or internment camps that have happened to our Asian community back in the 1950s, but it's about recognizing the contributions of the Asian and Jewish communities and any other community that is recognized for a month during the year, about the contributions of our fellow Americans who give a lot to our country. And so if you are indulged in really trying to find out what it's all about, you know, Jewish people or Asian people or Black Americans or whoever it is for that month, there's a lot of resources. You can use Google and, you know, get information. We have museums that you can visit to learn the history of different cultures and whatnot. So I think it's really important to not just be focused on tragedies that have happened to people and suffering as much as, you know, that's important, but also it's important to understand people's different cultures and ethnicities. That's all for tonight.
All right, thank you. Mr. Soltis?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone here in the audience to stay with us for, it's after 9 o'clock, so I appreciate that. That's all.
All right, thank you. Well, I want to just start by thanking Councilman Soltis for, once again, going with the seniors, arranging for the seniors to go. And I think Mr. Wright said this as well, you know, like we up here, we have a lot of conversations with our different representatives at different levels, but it's not necessarily so easy for our residents to do it. So being able to go to Lansing and to talk to the representatives is really good. And it's nice to be able to see, I know the first time I went to Lansing, it's nice to be able to see where they make those decisions. Like this room right here where you're watching, and the people who are here, you know, you can come to this room all the time because you live so close, because it's our city, but, you know, it's not always so easy to get up to Lansing to see where it is, what they do, so it's nice that they have that opportunity, so I want to thank Councilman Soltis for arranging that again. You know, our DPS, as I said, they really are a branch of our emergency services. Our police and fire can't go anywhere if their vehicles aren't working, you know, and if the roads that they need to go on aren't cleared. So really appreciate everything that they do. I'm glad that we were able to get the clarification with the trash program. I think we're all happy to be saving the $200,000. There was a bit of confusion there about the assisted part, so I'm glad that that was able to get cleared up. We were able to talk through that, and that was able to pass, and I expect if Councilor Rohrbach had been here, she also would have approved that as well. And then as far as the assessment, I mean, in a way, it was good that the county did what they did, because we went and we looked, and when I say we, I mean City Manager Marsh, you know, she, with our support, but she went to look, and I think that if they had just said, oh, you know, we're going to increase it by 4 or 10% or something, that it was a much more reasonable number, there's a really good chance that we would have said, oh, well, you know, everything's gone up, we know everything's gone up, we'll just pay it. And because of the way that this happened, which was horrible and completely disrespectful to us, but because it happened, we were able to get a much better deal. And I think we just need to remember that we, you know, in the end, we need to be looking out for the city. We live here, we're the ones who care, we need to be looking out for us. And then my final thought is, yesterday was Mother's Day, and so I want to thank all the mothers who are out there. And mothers come and all sorts of different shapes, sizes, and everything else. And not all mothers gave birth, and not all mothers are called moms. Some are aunts, some are really good friends, some are godmothers, but just the women in our lives who have been there for us. And Mr. Wright mentioned that this is Mental Health Month, and so May is always a difficult month for me because, well, it was my dad's birthday, and my dad, as many people know, he was diagnosed as being bipolar when I was a teenager. So I have firsthand knowledge what it's like to live with someone who has a mental health issue, and it's not just being depressed and feeling not so great today. It's, at least for bipolar, in our situation, it's the really high highs and the really low lows, where he would not get out of bed, and then he would be up at 2 in the morning, hadn't been able to sleep. And this was 40 years ago when people did not talk about this. You know, there is something wrong with your family, and you didn't talk about it. So I just want to do a shout out to my mom. You know, she was really, she was a role model, and as a child and as a teenager and probably as a young adult, I didn't realize how much of a role model she was, but she was extremely resilient, and I look at the way, what she had to do and what she did to take care of my father and to take care of myself and my siblings, and yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go off on a tangent on that, so I'm just gonna say, you know, thanks to all the moms out there. So our next meeting is not going to be in 2 weeks. It is going to be in 2 weeks plus a day, because we are not going to be here on Memorial Day. Our next meeting is going to be on the 27th. The time is 9:10, and this meeting is adjourned. Good night.